Before we dive in, if you think you can handle the darkest corners of America's justice system, hit subscribe, drop a like, and buckle up, because what you're about to hear will make you question what really happens behind bars. The story begins on a sweltering Texas morning. The air outside Dallas County Jail was thick with heat and tension. Sirens wailed in the distance, but inside those gray concrete walls, silence ruled, broken only by the echo of metal doors and the murmurs of men who'd seen too much. That morning, a guard named Marcus Lane started his shift early. He'd worked the night rotation for years, but something about this day felt wrong. Inmates whispered about a new arrival in cell 23, a man no one wanted to share a cell block with. His name was Ethan Cole, a former police officer turned convicted felon, sentenced for the brutal assault of an unarmed civilian. To the inmates, he was a traitor. To the guards, he was a liability. Marcus approached the high security wing, his boots echoing through the corridor. The air was heavy with a stench of sweat, disinfectant, and fear. Inmates leaned against their bars, watching him with the cold, predatory stillness of men who'd seen too long. As he passed cell 23, Marcus noticed something odd. The door was slightly ajar. That wasn't possible. Every cell in that wing had electronic locks. His pulse quickened. He tapped his radio, but the static came back dead. "Control, this is Officer Lane. I've got a possible malfunction in Block C." No response. He pushed the cell door open. The light flickered, casting long, trembling shadows across the walls. Ethan Cole sat on the edge of his cot, staring blankly at the floor. Except, it wasn't blank. Etched into the concrete beneath his feet were words, letters scratched so deeply they'd drawn blood. "They know I didn't do it." Before Marcus could ask what that meant, Ethan looked up. His eyes were hollow, but his voice steady. "You need to leave, officer. Now." Moments later, the power cut out. The corridor went black. The sound of metal slamming echoed down the block, cell doors locking tight. Backup generators failed to kick in. The jail was plunged into chaos. Guards shouted, alarms screamed, and in the confusion, a chilling scream tore through the silence. When lights flickered back, Ethan Cole was gone, vanished from a locked cell in one of the most secure facilities in Texas. The security footage showed something even more disturbing. Minutes before the blackout, a figure in a correctional officer's uniform was seen entering cell 23, but the face was obscured, the name tag unreadable. By sunrise, internal affairs had sealed off the entire block. Every officer was questioned, every camera reviewed, but no one could explain how a man disappeared from a cell designed to be escape-proof. And then, a new message appeared, carved into the wall of the empty cell, just below the first one. "Check the tapes from November 3rd. That date matched the night a civilian was killed, the same case that sent Ethan Cole to prison. Marcus froze when he realized it. The date wasn't random. Someone inside the jail knew the truth, and whoever they were, they had just started playing a dangerous game. But when investigators pulled the November 3rd security footage from the evidence room, the hard drive was missing, and in its place was a single photo of Ethan Cole sitting calmly in his cell, holding a key that didn't exist in any prison inventory. The message on the back read, "You locked up the wrong man." By dawn, the entire Dallas County Jail was on lockdown. Dozens of officers lined the corridors, radios crackling, boots stomping in rhythm with rising panic. The warden, Frank Delgado, was furious. In 30 years of service, no inmate had ever vanished from inside his walls. But Ethan Cole wasn't just another inmate. He was a former cop, a man the system itself had branded guilty. Detective Claire Monroe arrived just after sunrise. Her sharp eyes scanned the control room, monitors flickering, static hissing through broken feeds. "Where's the footage from November 3rd? The evidence technician swallowed hard. "Gone, ma'am. It was there last night." Claire frowned. Gone or erased? Silence. No one answered.
She turned to Officer Marcus Lane, the last man to see Cole alive. "Tell me again what you saw." Marcus hesitated. His hands trembled slightly as he recalled the scene. He was calm, too calm, Said I should leave. Then everything went dark. Claire studied him. Did you notice anyone near cell 23 before the blackout? There was a uniformed officer, but the face blurred, like the camera glitched. Claire leaned closer to the monitor, rewinding the footage frame by frame. For a split second, she caught it, a reflection in the glass door. The mysterious officer's wristwatch bore the department insignia, a limited edition only issued to ranking staff. Her gaze shifted toward the warden's office. Delgado caught her look. "Don't start that nonsense," he barked. "No one here helped him. Cole escaped because he planned this. He's dangerous." Claire's voice dropped. Or maybe someone wanted him gone before he could talk. Meanwhile, deep inside the jail's maintenance tunnels, a different story was unfolding. The air was damp, filled with the hum of old machinery. A flashlight beam sliced through the darkness, revealing Ethan Cole, limping, blood on his knuckles, clutching a small black key. He wasn't escaping. He was searching. Cole found an old service door and pried it open, leading to an abandoned records room. Dust covered the shelves, but one drawer had been cleaned recently. Inside, he found sealed evidence bags, and within one of them, a bloodied uniform badge marked DCPD 4519, the same number from the officer accused of killing the civilian he'd supposedly attacked. His jaw tightened. He whispered, "I knew it." Back upstairs, Claire's phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "He's not running, he's proving it. Check the old records room." Her heart pounded. She rushed toward the maintenance level with Marcus trailing behind. But as they reached the tunnel, the emergency lights flickered red. The lockdown had been lifted without authorization. Someone in command had just overridden her orders. Inmates stirred, doors clanged, the chaos returned. Claire and Marcus pushed through the narrow hallway, the air thick with alarm and dust. Suddenly, a shadow moved, fast, deliberate. A gunshot echoed. Sparks flew from the wall near her head. They ducked. Claire drew her weapon and shouted, "Stop! DCPD!" A figure emerged from the darkness. Not an inmate, but a guard. His name tag read, Olsen. His eyes were cold. "You shouldn't be here, detective. Some truths don't belong outside these walls." Marcus stepped forward. "Where's Cole?" Olsen smiled faintly. "Closer than you think." He turned to run, but before they could chase him, the tunnel lights shut off again. Total darkness. When they flicked back on, Olsen was gone. Only his radio remained, crackling with static, and one faint sentence. They buried the truth in cell 23. Claire froze. She turned to Marcus. Cell 23 isn't just a room. It's where the cover-up began. And then, over the in-jail intercom, a voice none of them expected came through. Raspy, calm, and unexpectedly familiar. "Detective Monroe, if you want the truth, meet me where it all started. The booking room. Midnight." It was Ethan Cole, alive, inside the jail, and somehow still one step ahead of them all. Midnight. The lights in Dallas County Jail flickered weakly as thunder rolled over the Dallas skyline. Detective Claire Monroe stood alone in the booking room, her pulse steady but heavy. The old fluorescent bulbs buzzed overhead, casting long, eerie shadows across the cracked tiles. The air smelled faintly of bleach, dust, and fear. She checked her watch, 12:04 a.m. A faint metallic click echoed from the corridor behind her. Someone was there. From the darkness, Ethan Cole stepped into the light, pale, exhausted, but very much alive. His orange jumpsuit was torn, his wrists still marked by restraints, yet his eyes held a quiet fire. "Detective Monroe, you shouldn't have come. I'm here because people are dying, and someone in this place wanted you silenced. Talk to me."
Ethan hesitated, then slid something across the desk, a small flash drive wrapped in cloth. "That's the footage from November 3rd, the real footage. I found it in the warden's private archive." Claire froze. "Delgado?" He nodded. "He ordered the cover-up. The civilian who died? He wasn't killed by me. He was shot by Officer Olson. Delgado buried the evidence to protect his department's reputation, and when I refused to stay quiet, they framed me. Before Claire could respond, a sharp voice echoed from the upper balcony. You should have stayed in your cell, Cole. Warden Frank Delgado stepped into view, gun in hand, his face twisted with fury. Behind him, 2 guards stood tense, uncertain. You think anyone will believe you? You're a disgraced cop, a convict. No one cares. Ethan met his gaze. They'll care when they see the footage. Delgado's smile faded. You'll never make it out of here alive. Claire slowly raised her hands. Warden, think about what you're doing. It's over. Internal Affairs is already on their way. Delgado shook his head. No, Detective, you don't understand. This jail, it runs on silence. He cocked the gun. A second later, the power cut out again. Total darkness. A gunshot thundered through the hall, then another. Shouts, footsteps, the sound of struggle. When the lights flickered back, Delgado was on the floor, bleeding from his shoulder. Claire's weapon smoked in her hand. Don't move, she ordered. But Ethan was gone. Again. She rushed toward the exit, scanning every hallway, every cell. The alarms blared as officers poured in. Yet somehow, in the middle of chaos, Ethan had vanished, leaving behind only one thing on the booking desk, the flash drive. Days later, the footage leaked. It showed the truth in brutal clarity. Officer Olson firing the fatal shot, Delgado ordering the cover-up, and Ethan Cole standing helplessly in the background. The department scrambled to contain the fallout, but the story hit national headlines. Dallas County Jail was branded one of the most corrupt facilities in America. The warden was arrested, multiple officers suspended, and the city launched a full investigation. But Ethan Cole, he was never found. Months passed. The jail reopened under new leadership. Cell 23 was sealed, permanently. Yet guards whispered that, late at night, when the power flickered, you could hear scratching sounds coming from that empty room. And carved deep into the wall, just below the flickering light, someone had etched new words. Justice doesn't end with freedom. Detective Monroe stood outside the cell one last time, the memory of that night still haunting her. She pressed her hand against the cold metal door and whispered, "Wherever you are, Cole, I hope you found peace." As she walked away, the corridor lights dimmed, and for a brief second, the sound of a key turning echoed softly behind her. They thought the truth had finally been uncovered. But 3 months later, another inmate vanished from the same block, the same cell. And this time, the words left behind read, "He wasn't the only one." If you thought this story was intense, you're not ready for what comes next. Hit subscribe, because the next case takes us even deeper into the darkness behind bars.